My coworker Sienna saw me pull up in a luxury car and asked, her voice laced with envy, "Roxanne, did you buy this car yourself?" Remembering my dad's advice to keep a low profile, I answered casually, "It is my husband's." 3 months later, she showed up with a group of people and sued me. I was completely bewildered, but she was crying like she was the most wronged person in the world. It was Roxanne's husband who assaulted me. I went to her house to drop off a file, but she wasn't home. Her husband saw me, got ideas, and forced himself on me. I am pregnant with his child. I demand they take responsibility. Otherwise, I am suing them both for marriage fraud. She demanded $5 million in compensation and half of my assets. A tidal wave of condemnation washed over me, but I remained calm, a smirk playing on my lips as I watched her performance. She had no idea that I'd been single for 5 years. I did have a husband once, but he died 5 years ago. You just said you were pregnant with my husband's child. Are you sure about that? In the courtroom, I looked calmly at Sienna, a woman I had worked with for 3 years. She had always been overly friendly, fawning over my clothes and accessories. She'd complimented a bracelet I was wearing, so I gave it to her. She was always trying to get me to buy her coffee, and I never made a big deal out of it. But I never could have imagined that she would show up 3 months pregnant, her belly slightly rounded, and accuse my husband of assaulting her in front of a judge. Sienna lifted her chin, her voice firm. "Of course, I am sure. Roxanne, out of respect for our time as colleagues, I wanted to handle this privately, but you refused to admit it. I had no choice but to take legal action now. In front of the judge, you might as well tell the truth." Sienna's mother glared at me, her face contorted with rage. "You are Roxanne, right? Your monster of a husband committed this crime, but he doesn't even have the guts to show his face in court. If he hadn't defiled my daughter, she would still be an innocent young woman. How could she possibly be pregnant? I suggest you bring him here right now. It doesn't matter where you hide him. A scumbag like that deserves the death penalty." The mother-daughter duo put on a dramatic performance, their voices loud and accusatory. I could barely watch. I shook my head in exasperation. "I think you've got the wrong person instead of wasting your time with me. You should be out looking for the real perpetrator." I'll say it again. My husband would never do something like that. My words were like a lit match to gasoline. Sienna's mother exploded. "How can you be so sure he wouldn't? My daughter is young and beautiful. Men can't take their eyes off her. I bet your husband is no saint. If she hadn't gone to your house to deliver that file, she wouldn't have been subjected to such a brutal attack. The way you are defending him, maybe you two planned this together, to lure an innocent young girl into a trap." Sienna's mother started to dab at her eyes, her gaze falling on her daughter's swollen belly as she wailed to the heavens. "My poor daughter, you just graduated a few years ago. You had your whole life ahead of you, and now it has been ruined by that monster." Her cries were so heart-wrenching that the jury and the co-workers who had come to watch started to look at me with disdain. "The victim is on the verge of a breakdown, and you are just sitting there, unmoved. Rich women are all heartless bitches. I bet she is covering for her husband. Maybe they even planned the whole thing together." Seeing the tide of sympathy turn in her favor, Sienna played her part to perfection. Her eyes were red and swollen as she looked at me with a pitiful expression. "Roxanne, it was your husband. Why won't you admit it? Because of his selfish desires, my life is ruined. I can't get married, and now I am pregnant. The doctor said if I have an abortion, I might never be able to have children. My demands aren't unreasonable. Just $5 million for emotional distress and a share of your assets. After all, I am carrying your husband's child. Your family is well off. Can't you spare that much?" A smirk played on my lips. There it is. The real you is finally showing. This has always been about money, hasn't it? Just pin a crime on me that is impossible to disprove. Sienna, you are more cunning than I gave you credit for. My words hit their mark. A flicker of panic